Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Before I start the show, I want to say something because a lot of people talk about negativity in a very difficult time. We are having difficult times right now. Understood. We are what we need to do with people is encourage them. Understood. What we need to do with people now is give them hope. Understood. What we need to do with people most of all is to empower. Understand that yes, while these kinds of things happen, the way we respond to them, the way the people that we elect respond to them is what is of utmost importance. And if we don't, at the time when policies are being made, at the time when issues are being debated as far as how are we going to solve these issues, if we don't engage at this time when these things are occurring, then what we are lending ourselves to, what we are opening up the possibilities for, is for the results of what we must have, what we must change to mitigate these issues that are occurring, the coronavirus and all these things, to mitigate that. If we are not engaging now to mitigate these, if we are not fighting like hell to mitigate these, to be a part of the discussion, to be a part of what's going on, if we are not doing that now, then we suffer at our own peril. And this, at this point in our history today, at this point, honestly, this is no longer a Republican, a Democrat, a party issue. But to a large extent, it is an ideological issue. And it's a human issue. And human issues are, in fact, ideological issues because what we think about humanity has a lot to do with where we are going to go. So people, please don't disengage now. Please stay engaged. Please do not have fear now. There's a lot that we need to be concerned about. But you know what? Fear is never the answer to solve a problem. Understanding, first of all, that yes, we are all in this together, irrespective of our perceived or believed ideological bent. We are all in this together. We can't run away from it. We can't run away from a virus. We can hold it down. But what we can do is not allow demagogues, not allow others to use this catastrophe as a way to effect policy that don't just hurt one set of people, but hurt everybody but a few. And we are already seeing the machinations of that. From the way they're writing policy to the way they are calling these issues, this thing out. We are already seeing positioning to take advantage of this. And my context, my response, my suggestion, my advice to us all is not to fall once again for the game. We have to be educating ourselves. We have to be fully engaged, and we have to understand what's going on here. No fear, but we have got to engage. We don't sit down and wait for them to say, this is what we have to offer you. We use this time effectively to say, now that we are in a catastrophe exacerbated by a failed economic system that is only really placed on display when these catastrophes occur, it is time for us to make a change. And we have to understand going forward that sitting back is not going to be the answer. Waiting till it's somehow a more appropriate time is not the answer. Sitting back and saying, we don't want to do this right now because people are scared is not the answer. The answer has to be full engagement, understand where we're at. We owe that to not only our family and friends, we owe this to our kids. We owe this to us all. We are in for some very serious times. How we get out of it is up to us. And notice what I just said. How we get out of it is up to us. We're not going to sit back and just wait for them to decide how best for us to survive. We are going to be on the phones when we find out what the policies are. And we're going to tell them, no, you're going to do X, Y, and Z. If they have to pass an emergency policy that just goes through, let it go through. But we're going to be back again saying, you will do that. You work for us. The corporations have gotten rich on us. Without us, there are no corporations. Without us, those billionaires cannot exist. Without us, because we are the people of the United States. We are the people of the world. And as much as you may want to revere those who you think have, as much as you may want to revere them, it is imperative that you understand there is no they without us. They cannot be wealthy without us. Folks, if you're just joining us, I beg you, I implore you to please share this right away. We have a substantive program. We have a substantive program, an empowering program, but an empowering program to the few is much less effective than an empowering program to the many that many can take and move on to help us educate us all. And notice what I say. When I say this, I mean this. We educate us all because I am dependent on everybody as well to be in this game. We have got to do this. Now, we have yet to see the largest repercussions of what is about to happen. And this is not about scaring you. This is not about telling you to run to the grocery store and empty the shelves. That is all temporary. We should be ready for transformational change. Where a candidate may not have been able, or where a few progressive candidates were unable to show the reason why we the people is so important. Where progressive candidates in the Democratic Party was unable to unleash us from the neoliberal evil, coronavirus, with the short-term, very difficult pain, could be the path used to create the transformational change that we must have in order to create an equitable society that creates equal access to success. Not that if you want to be a bomb, you should be just as well off as somebody who doesn't want to do anything. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about equal access to success, and for once in reality, a meritocracy. For once in reality, a meritocracy. Folks, please, if you're just joining us, this is Politics Done Right. Please share these programs. I implore thee. We are going to be, or as we are always, substantive. And of course, this is one of those programs where you can always reach the host. If I say something that you don't like, that you think is wrong, this is your show, and you can let me know it either in our chat room. Go to facebook.com/politics done right, or go to youtube.com/Egberto Willies. And of course, you can reach us on Twitter via Periscope and Twitch, and of course on Blog Talk Radio. But I want to hear from you all. I want to hear from you all. You can give me a call as well, 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. All calls accepted. And today I decided to do something. If for some reason folks want to go over the hour, I will. I set up some time on Blog Talk Radio to do that if necessary. Just in case somebody gets long-winded on the phone, if somebody calls in or a few people call in or whatever. But I'd love to hear anybody who wants to call. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. I want to start off with something that is very, very simple yet telling. We have a president that can only be called immoral, and one who wants to do evil things in order to maintain power or create some new order. We have a virus that may have started its infection in China, maybe, but the reaction to that virus is what has us in this situation right now. We could have had different reactions to a virus to mitigate its advance, to mitigate its spread, its infection rate, but we didn't do things for several reasons. But anyway, what I want you to listen to is how the president addressed this. This is the press conference he does this morning. Yesterday, I think I played you some video of how the president addressed this issue. I'm coming to you, 727. Let me get to this video, and then I'll be coming to you. If you want to speak, though, 727, go ahead, hit the number 1. If you want to speak, 727. If you want to speak, 727, you need to hit the number 1. Otherwise, I'll just see you there as listening on the phone. Okay, check out how he handles this.
I thank you all for joining us, and I'd like to begin by providing an update on what we are doing to minimize the impact of the Chinese virus on our nation's students. 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 Chinese virus on our nation's students.
I put that in a loop for effect. I put that in a loop for effect. Any president that comes out and talks to you that way, to tell you that way, that somehow a virus has, what's the word that I want to use? That somehow a virus has a nationality. That is utterly evil. And that is what our president just did there. Our president wanted to tell you that somehow this virus is evil. I'm getting further to the program, but I need to get this out of the way first of all. I want to show you guys another piece as well, because it's not like that went unnoticed, right? We all noticed that. We all noticed that quite well. But anyhow, here is how he handled it with some reporters. And I did a little piece, I think I did this piece last night. So let's go ahead and play this piece that I did last night, and then we'll move on from there, because this is rather important.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus? There are reports of dozens of incidents of bias against Chinese Americans in this country. Your own aide, Secretary Azar, says he does not use this term. He says ethnicity does not cause the virus. Why do you keep using this? A lot of people say it's racist.
It's not racist at all, no, not at all. It comes from China. That's why. Comes from China.
There are at least one White House official who used the term Kung Flu, referring to the fact that this virus started in China. Is that acceptable? Is it wrong? Are you worried that having this virus be talked about as a Chinese virus, that might.
I wonder who said that.
Focus,
you know who said that?
I'm not sure the person's name, but would you condemn the fact?
Say
that
the term again.
A person at the White House used the term Kung Flu. My question is, do you think that that's wrong, Kung Flu? And do you think using the term Chinese virus, that puts Asian Americans at risk, that people might target them?
No, not at all. I think they probably would agree with it 100%. It comes from China.
Well, I think China is to blame because the culture where people eat bats and snakes and dogs and things like that, these viruses are transmitted from the animal to the people, and that's why China has been the source of a lot of these viruses like SARS, like MERS, the swine flu.
Now, the saddest part about it is, let's go to the latter with Cornyn. That Cornyn would look and say, first of all, he's not very smart. MERS means Middle Eastern, not Asian or Chinese, right? But anyhow, the fact that he would say things like, they eat bats and they eat snakes. Well, we eat frogs and we eat cows. We eat a lot of other things. In Europe, they eat horses. Do we think that it is sad that these guys would put, these guys are supposed to be educated. There are a sect in America that look up to these guys. And when these guys give authority for misinformation, when these guys give authority to make statements that are less than accurate, statements that are, to put it bluntly, asinine, then it's simple. Now, when the president says stuff, it started in China. Well, guess what? Could it have started somewhere else, got to China, and then come back? Of course. Does anybody call the swine flu? Does anybody call the swine flu American flu? Guess where they think swine flu originated? In the pig stalls of America. Okay? We don't go ahead saying the American swine flu. We don't do that. Because sickness, illness, pathogens are pathogens. We have to get to the point. Pathogens are pathogens. Okay? So that is sad. But anyhow, let's go ahead and tell you what the genesis of this program is today, what we're going to really talk about today. And let me go ahead and get to that screen right now. And it goes like this. The title of the show today is An Unhinged Coronavirus-Driven Trump, a Danger to Truth and Freedom. Coronavirus is causing an unhinged Donald Trump day by day. Make no mistake, he is like an animal in a corner, and that is when they are at the most dangerous. Coronavirus is exposing so much. Note we are at a tipping point and must be careful. And when I talk about us being at a tipping point, that's what I mean. There's a lot, and the tipping point isn't in left or right or forward or backward. It's all over. And we have to decide now, as Americans, we have to decide if we are going to allow going forward the same old to continue in such a manner that we get the same results over and over and over again. Right now, the president, before I get to that, I want to show you what some good Republicans have put together. And then I'll take it on the other side of that. So this is an important piece as well that I'm going to show you, and then we'll take it on the other side. Here we go. Well, we know Donald Trump has been lying about his response to the coronavirus for a long time. Today, there is an ad that came out. Powerful, truthful, substantive, and the most important thing, it was released by the good old conservative Republicans who have some say within the party. Not necessarily with the particular cult that the president has, but I think with these guys, there's enough crossover to make a difference. Let's first listen to the ad.
Are there words about a pandemic at this point?
No, we're not at all.
How concerned are you?
Well, we pretty much shut it down. A lot of people think that goes away in April.
We have contained this, I won't say airtight, but pretty close to airtight.
going to be down to close to zero. It's going to disappear. It's like a miracle. It will disappear. They're going to have vaccines, I think, relatively soon.
What do you say to Americans who are concerned that you're not taking this seriously enough?
That's CNN, fake news.
The president say, for example, he's going to continue with political rallies. Is this sending the right message?
Going to a rally, there's no reason that you shouldn't go.
It's really working out.
The president stopped shaking hands.
In our line of work, you shake hands.
No, I don't take responsibility at all, but it's something that we have tremendous control of.
How would you rate your response to this crisis?
I'd rate it a 10. This is a pandemic. I felt it was a pandemic long before it was called a pandemic.
Now, the person that most disappointed me in that entire piece was Ben Carson. Because he's a doctor, he should know better. With those words coming out of a doctor's mouth, knowing that there is, in fact, a very contagious disease which can afflict mostly older people, it speaks to the degradation that can occur when one associates with Donald Trump. It shows, because we've seen a whole lot of people, we've constantly said they wouldn't do that. They will be a check on Donald Trump. But somehow his gravitational pull for those who are weak enough to go work for him has worked. The question is, the strong folks that have put out this type of ad against the president, will it work? Will it convince enough people to lose faith in anything this guy has to say? Will it ensure that he does not stand a chance in November? Will all the drama that he's showing right now and the semblance of normalcy he's trying to bring with a more mellow approach to the coronavirus make a difference? The truth is, I don't know. I surmise that it likely will. We'll see. I'm Egberto Woolley. Okay, folks, so as it turns out, as you can see, it is quite interesting, right? It is quite interesting that a group of solid conservative Republicans made that ad, because they see what's happening here. They look, like I've always said, most people are good people. My conservative friends, my liberal friends, my anarchist friends, my all these different friends, right? When we go down and look at the basic principles of the things that we want, the things that we want for our kids, the things that we usually find that for the most part we want the same things. It's when we get into some social issues like, let's say, abortion, and when we get into certain issues as far as church and all that kind of separation of church and state, that is where things get kind of sticky. But from an economic standpoint, a lot of us want the same things, right? But these Republicans are starting to notice, these real staunch Republicans are starting to notice that this guy is a danger. And you know, what I wish more of them would say is, it's not only Donald Trump that is a danger. It's the pathogen is the economic system they stand for. The pathogen is something else. Donald Trump is the result, the culmination of all the pieces of an evil system coming together. Because what it is truth is no longer truth. Everything is plausible. That is where we're at right now. But you know that he's starting to feel the pressure, and why he gets unhinged when he is challenged. And he got challenged by a reporter just today, and he lost it. I want to show you this, and then after that we need to show a little something else. But check this out.
Is it possible that your impulse to put a positive spin on things may be giving Americans a false sense of hope?
No, I don't think so.
Misrepresenting the preparedness right now?
No, I don't think so. I think that, I think it's got...
The not yet approved drug?
Such a lovely question. Look, it may work and it may not work. And I agree with the doctor, what he said. May work, may not work. I feel good about it. That's all it is, just a feeling. I'm a smart guy. I feel good about it. And we're going to see. You're going to see soon enough. And we have certainly some very big samples of people. If you look at the people, there are a lot of people that are in big trouble. And this is not a drug that obviously, I think I can speak from a lot of experience, because it's been out there for over 20 years. So it's not a drug that you have a huge amount of danger with. It's not like a brand new drug that's been just created that may have an unbelievable monumental effect, like kill you. We're going to know very soon. And I can tell you, the FDA is working very hard to get it out. Right now, in terms of malaria, if you want it, you can have a prescription. You get a prescription. And by the way, and it's very effective. It works. I have a feeling you may, and I'm not being overly optimistic or pessimistic. I sure as hell think we ought to give it a try. I mean, there's been some interesting things happened and some good, very good things. Let's see what happens. We have nothing to lose. You know the expression? What the hell do you have to lose? Okay?
So what do you say to Americans who are nearly 200? I'll just follow up. Nearly 200 dead. What do you say to Americans who are scared, though? I guess nearly 200 dead, 14,000 who are sick, millions, as you witnessed, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
I say that you're a terrible reporter. That's what I say. Go ahead. I think it's a very nasty question, and I think it's a very bad signal that you're putting out to the American people. The American people are looking for answers, and they're looking for hope. And you're doing sensationalism, and the same with NBC and Comcast. I don't call it Comcast. I call it Comcast. Let me just tell you for whom you work. Let me just tell you something. That's really bad reporting. And you ought to get back to reporting instead of sensationalism. Let's see if it works. It might and it might not. I happen to feel good about it, but who knows? I've been right a lot. Let's see what happens.
In TV terms, we call this a softball. I was trying to provide the president an opportunity to reassure the millions of Americans, members of my own family and my neighbors in my community, and plenty of people sitting at home right now. This was his opportunity to do that, to provide a sort of positive or uplifting message. Instead, you saw the president's answer to that question right now. But it really does go to one of the fundamental concerns. Americans are looking for a sense of confidence in their leaders at this moment, as many of them are glued to their TVs or stuck behind closed doors in their homes, surrounded only by loved ones right now. But I think it does sort of reveal a frustration, perhaps an anxiety about his own political prospects, and about a situation that's hard to keep in control as we witness it continue to spiral at this time. Andrea, the bottom line is this is a president whose experiences in life are very different than most Americans across this country right now. Not a person who likely worries about finances or not a person who in the course of his life is worried about his future, not a person who's worried about where he'll find a paycheck for his bills or for his rent. And as evidenced by the president suggesting that an opportunity to provide for Americans some reassurance about how they should feel right now, the president instead took it out on me.
Now, this is what I call evil to the nth degree. First of all, he got unhinged. He got unhinged because a reporter asked the pertinent questions. But here's the thing. How dare he tell the reporter that somehow he was a bad reporter when the person that goes on that stage and lie over and over. We just showed you the ad made by Republicans that just showed how he continues to lie about this crisis. The fact of the matter is we knew about coronavirus in December. The fact of the matter, we had our first case in January. The fact of the matter, if we had taken these things seriously in America, just like they did seriously the Koreans, the South Koreans found out about their particular first case at the same time we did. They are doing just fine because their single payer system, their very efficient healthcare system worked just fine. Their economic system moderated by a good social safety net worked just fine. But our system, where we have a few people simply caring about maximizing the profit for some, which means, hey, we can hold back on this till we can gear up and see how we can profit from the coronavirus. Oh, let's allow, you notice when he gave his press conference in his Rose Garden, he had Walmart and these other guys next to him. It was a matter of starting to divvy out this illness, divvy out the coronavirus to see how we can use the private sector to continue to make profits no matter what, at your cost, at your death, at your killing. If you take a look at this, notice how they constantly impel in your mind. It's I see it happening, right? I see it as it happens. As they're talking, you hear Vice President the vice president continues to try to push, oh, the private sector is doing this, and Donald Trump tries to come out and says the corporations and the private sector do this. That is a thing to put in your head, that the reason solutions are starting to occur is that, oh, because we're now engaging the private corporations. No, 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 no. The government failed. The government failed. President Obama had a department that was designed, to take care of pandemics. He got rid of it. He had a segment, or rather, he had a department to take care of pandemics. We got rid of it. So it was a failure of Donald Trump's government that allowed this pandemic in the United States to get exacerbated. It was President Trump's fault. Let's not allow any of that. Any of that must be compromised in your minds. The idea was, if you go ahead and have this stuff done, and then somehow you make now the private sector the savior, which is false. It is the lacking and the failure of Donald Trump's government. Listen to what Donald Trump now had to say about what was there before. This is how the liar in chief is really attempting to change the conversation to that he had to come in and fix a government that he destroyed, and why it is now the private sector stepping up. Check this out.
Just so you know, just for the probably 100th time, this administration, inherited an obsolete, broken, old system that wasn't meant for this. Just so you know, just for the probably 100th time, this administration, inherited an obsolete, broken, old system that wasn't meant for this. We discarded that system, and we now have a new system that can do millions of people as you need them. But we had to get rid of a broken old system that didn't work. It worked only on a very limited basis. And we're very proud of what we've done. It's incredible what we've done. And this system will now serve for the future, for future problems. Hopefully you don't have a problem like this, but something will come up. We have now a great system, and it's almost fully in gear, but it's able to test millions of people. But we inherited a broken, old, frankly, a terrible system. We fixed it, and we've done a great job. And we haven't been given the credit that we deserve, that I can tell you. But the one that really deserves the credit are the American people, because they are doing things that nobody thought they would do. What they're doing is incredible, and we're making a lot of progress, and we'll see you folks tomorrow. Thank you very much.
I'm Egberto Willies. Now, folks, I need you to understand what just happened there. This was a president in office, or this is a president in office for 3 years and 2 months. Today makes it 3 years and 2 months. He only has 10 more months in office. So he's well over the half of his administration. And to come out and say the reason we were not able to handle this pandemic is that because he was left a bad system. But no, the system now is yours. You've been there 3 years and 2 months. And not only that, you disbanded the pandemic department. You disbanded it. So how do you explain that it is somebody else's fault? Talk about irresponsibility. Talk about throwing the blame at somebody else. Folks, understand what is going on now. He is trying to put that narrative into those who have a shallow mind and just believe his words. He needed to say something that sounded plausible to the uninformed. So that is what he says. He says something plausible to the uninformed. Well, you know what our job is, my brothers and my sisters? It is our job to inform. It is our job to make sure there are not a whole lot of folks that are uninformed. That is your job. That is my job. That is our job. Because all those people that are going to buy the crap up, they are our brothers and sisters as well. And to some extent, I'd like to say it's not necessarily only their fault. If you're just joining us, folks, please go ahead and share this program. It is imperative that we let others understand what is going on here. But, I have to do a quick 2-minute prompt here and beg thee, ask thee to please be a part of Politics Done Right. I do need your subscriptions to be able to continue doing what we're doing. So I ask you so kindly, folks, to please become members. You can start actually by supporting us by going to our store. Go to store.politicsdoneright.com. Again, that is store.politicsdoneright.com. You can get a whole lot of stuff at our store, and it is we don't do this just for the sake of doing this. We want to make a difference. We are not just trying to make a difference. We are making a difference. So I ask you so kindly to please become a subscriber to our program. You won't regret it at all. Subscription to our program is quite simple. Just go to patreon.com/politics done right. That is spelled patreon.com/politics done right. Very inexpensive. You can put a little bit to do a lot. You can put a little bit to do a lot because we're going nowhere. We are going to make sure to empower people. We're going to make sure that people get the information so that when they, when that reporter went and spoke to Donald Trump, or when he asked Donald Trump, he didn't go back and query and challenge Donald Trump as he should, and he probably couldn't. But we can do that. We can present what he did and expand on what he did. And that's what we do here at Politics Done Right. That's what we try to do at Independent Media. If you want to support our fund, the fund that allows us to go out to different cities, and which we do all the time, the Netroots Nation, the DNC, or whatever, you can go to gofundme.com/independent-media-upgrade. Again, that is gofundme.com/independent-media-upgrade. Alternatively, you can just go ahead and contribute to paypal.me/politics done right. Again, that is paypal.me/politics done right. But again, please don't forget, folks, go to our store as well. So go ahead, subscribe and get a little t-shirt, promote the program, help people know that there is a place where you have somebody that is honest, telling the truth, and not only that, willing to hear from you as well, so that we can ensure that what we are doing is making a difference. Anyway, let's get back to the program. Thank you so kindly for giving me that 2 minutes to kind of talk to you about this stuff. But anyway, here's what I want to talk about. What I really want to talk about is say this. This is the time. We are at a tipping point. We are at a very, very tipping point right now. And you can't disengage. You have to stay involved with 786. If you want to say something, please hit the number 1 so that I know you want to talk and you're not just listening on Blog Talk Radio. Anyhow, folks, as I'm saying, what is important? Okay, you want to come in. Let's see. Caller 786, come on in. 786, you are, hold on 1 second. Let me make sure that's on. Okay, 716, you're on.
Hi, Egberto. It's Ron Cole again. How are you?
Hey, Ron, talk to me.
Listen, I just wanted to get a quick thank you out there for people that we may have missed. This obviously is really a hairy situation for us all, but as a veteran and a well-decorated one, I wanted to give a thank you to all the grocery store folks that are out there keeping us fed and supplied.
Yes.
Because at this point right now, they really are our heroes in keeping us safe. So I just wanted to give a thank you to all of them.
Ron, I am so glad. That's why I said I have the best listeners, the best callers, the best everything. Because I am so focused on the policy and what's going on here. I forgot to do that. Thank you so kindly, sir. That's on me.
You're welcome.
Who else am I forgetting, sir?
Well, that's our front line of defense. I know first responders are out there, but really our first line of defense are our healthcare workers and these folks that are keeping us fed. Really, they are our true heroes. We'll never be able to repay them.
And you know what, Ron?
Well, next time you go to the grocery store, say thank you.
And to our farmers, our ranchers, all of you that are going to keep this supply chain moving. those hard workers at Amazon that are delivering because we can't go to a lot of places we can. Ron, your call is such an important call, folks, because a lot of those folks that are sitting down at home that are listening are married to folks that are out there doing their thing right now, and they want to know that their people are appreciated. So yes, Ron is absolutely right. Thank you guys. You guys are the ones that are saving the day for those of us that are cooped up at home or in our studios or wherever to be able to continue doing this. So Ron, thank you for bringing that up. Anything else you want to add, my brother?
My friend, you just keep up the good work, and let's get through this together.
Look, thank you so kindly, Ron. You have a good one, okay?
You too, my friend. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah, look, I am so happy to get that call. Again, I want to say my big thank yous and appreciation for all of those who have to weather the storm outside, putting themselves at risk for getting this coronavirus. Because you know what? Ron is so right. You guys are so important to us all, because if some of you decided to be scared and just sit back and not engage, man, would we be in trouble. So everybody here, remember, I'm going to put a post on my wall, on my page, and so forth to thank all of you guys. You know, sometimes you're so focused. Sometimes you're so focused on an issue that you forget other things. And that is why I so love my listeners. And at the end of the show, I always say, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate your ears. I really love you. That is not just talk. That is just how it is, because that is what we have to have on the inside if we are going to believe in making a better world. Okay, it's time for me to go and talk to you guys that are put in here in the chat room. And by the way, the only chats that I can generally see immediately are the ones that are placed on YouTube or on the Facebook Live page. Not the Facebook. The Facebook Live is shared all around, but if you go ahead and want me to see that right away, go ahead, please, and put it on the facebook.com/politics done right. That is the one that actually gets monitored. Okay, here we go. Lee Grant says, hello all. Let me first tell all of you guys hi. Lee Grant, hello. Kathleen Maureen Morgan, hi. Christine Erickson Atchison, welcome aboard. Daniel Ledoux, Dwight Guys, welcome aboard. Let's see, who else do we have? Lawrence Sim, welcome aboard. Dennis McLaughlin, welcome aboard. Thank you guys for all being here. Jerry Miller, welcome aboard. Dana Morgan, welcome aboard. Let's see, who else do I have? If I miss you, forgive me. Just Marshall Gordon, welcome aboard. And everybody. Okay, so let me go to all the notes that you guys have been sending right now. Okay, Lee Grant says, sounds like a socialist takeover of all... Whoops, scrolled. Let's see. Sounds like a socialist takeover of all of society would be a good way to get to where you want to be. Understand what you're saying, Lee Grant. I want the same thing you want, Lee, but these folks, the corporatocracy, the plutocracy wants you to believe that what I want, what we want, those of us that call ourselves democratic socialists, and I have stopped using that word specifically because people don't understand specifically what you want. What we want is a bifurcated economy. The parts that should not belong in the profit sector, and then the part where we don't mind some sort of laissez-faire as long as you do no harm. That is what we're talking about, Lee Grant. So if you and I were to sit down and have coffee for a long time where you could throw out everything that you think you disagree with me on, I am almost going to guarantee you that after we sit down and talk for a few hours, 95%, we're going to be 95% in agreement, and where we're not in agreement will likely have to do with social issues. Okay, Lee Grant says vilification of Trump will certainly help us through these difficult times. Yes, yes, yes. The reason why is this. A lot of the policies Trump wants are wrong. And what we have to do is tear him down to the point that those people who still think he is some sort of a hero understand the evil that he represents and the hurt that he's going to inflict on those who support him. And once we can get some of those people out of the way, when I say out, from loving him, then those same people will go to their Republican representative and demand what's theirs. Because their Republican representatives are in the same boat we're all in. but they're so scared of this bully that they will not effect the policies necessary. They want it. They tell their friends in the background, we would love to do this, but if we do this, Trump is going to make sure somebody primaries me. Like I said, I love my Republican brothers and sisters. I love my anarchist brothers and sisters. I leave my ire for the politicians, the evil politicians, not for you guys. Not at all. Lee Grant, I have nothing against you, brother. Nothing. Daniel Ledo, he hates my guts, but I don't hate him. I believe in what I'm saying, and I know what I'm saying for the most part is right. And it's been corroborated. So that's the truth. Okay, Kirsten Erickson Atkinson, can we infect the dump the Donald, please? Well, you know what? I wish no physical or health harm on no one, but I want him gone. Daniel Ledo says, Egberto seems to think he knows the internal motivations of a total stranger. President Trump, do me, Egberto, get into my mind and tell me us all why I do the things I do. It's not at all difficult to figure that out, Mr. Ledo. I got a call here, 781. If you want to talk, please push the number 1. That way I know you're not just listening, but you want to talk. So press the number. There you go. All right. Go ahead and speak. 781, come on in.
Hi, Egberto. It's Kathleen.
Kathleen, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm hanging in there. How about yourself?
All right. Are you locked in your home with a whole lot of food?
Well, I don't know about a whole lot, but I bought as much as I could afford.
There you go. So
Yeah.
talk to me, Kathleen. Talk to me.
Well, what you were talking about earlier, as far as staying engaged, I'm doing a lot of listening to people. Well, listening, so to speak, on Facebook, and I'm paying attention to what fears people have, and I'm calling my legislators because a lot of my friends and family members live in states where their representatives have no one in the office, even on a good day, even before this, and their voicemail is full.
Right.
So they can't even get through to their representatives. I'm fortunate. I have 2 senators and a representative in the House. They're all receptive to their constituents' phone calls. And so I not only voice my concerns, but I voice those of others as well. Like if they're going to do what do you call it? You know, if they're going to mail people checks.
Right.
I have a cousin who's on Medicaid, and if her income goes over a certain level, she gets kicked off Medicaid.
Right.
So I called my representative, and I said, listen, my cousin's in kidney failure. If she loses her Medicaid, she'll die.
Right.
So you guys got to think of, like, the lowest among us, the least among us, and act in their best interest. Don't ignore these people, because they will pay the ultimate price.
That is a very interesting. You know, those are all the things that you have to think about. And I think it is the law can be written in such a manner that these grants that are given as do not reflect income for a certain amount, for a certain group of people. In other words, for rich people, let it reflect income that is taxed. But for people under a certain amount, let it not be income, but let it be a grant. You know, let it be a subsidy. There are a lot of ways to write the law to say this will not impact any of the social services that you're currently getting. And it's a one-line clause they can put in that. So it's great that you pointed that out, because those would be lines that need to be placed into the law itself, so that some crazy person later on don't come back and do exactly what you just talked about.
Right. Right. I don't want there to be unanticipated consequences that they didn't bear in mind that hurt, the most vulnerable people. And fortunately for me, all 3, my 2 senators and my representative, are all lawyers.
Right.
So, they're smart enough to know exactly how the law works, and how to implement protections in legislation.
Excellent.
For those sorts of instances.
Yeah, well, Elizabeth
and
Warren
I
is
also raised,
one of your senators, right?
Yes. Right. And my representative, Stephen Lynch, is absolutely fantastic. And I also spoke with their offices about people who are self-employed, and the gig workers, the independent contractors, that, they can't be considered a small business because they're really not. They're independent contractors. They're self-employed. They have no employees. I talked to my brother the other day. He's a mobile mechanic, and he works for himself. And he's scared now. He didn't tell me as much, but I could hear it in his voice, because his phone has stopped ringing. People aren't getting their cars fixed because they're not going anywhere.
Right.
And they're saving their money because the future's uncertain. And, so I'm trying as best to look out for other people as well as I hear them and, read their stories on Facebook and what they're scared about. And, and I tell them, listen, I called my rep, I called my senators, I told them, from your perspective, what you're afraid of. And I'm just trying to do my part to help people.
Let me tell you something. Kathleen, that is like manna from heaven. You are manna from heaven because, again,
stop it.
That is no. Let me tell you. There are thousands of people that are gonna hear what you just said, right? And they're gonna say, well, if Kathleen can do that for her fellow brothers and sisters around the country, I need to do that as well. And your words are gonna get other people to do that as well. And that is what I talk about. When I talk about geometric progression, that's what I'm talking about. First, you empower people to let them know that they can make a difference, and then they start making a difference. And you've always been an empowering person. You are making a difference. I appreciate you calling and that's that thing that you just said there. A lot of people who are just sitting down there, that's going to sit down and say, oh, I'm going to wait for that government check because it's going to help me do X, Y, Z. They're going to have other thoughts now, and they're going to say, I have got to be engaged. So I appreciate that word.
Well, I appreciate the compliment. I very much do. Being outspoken comes naturally to me, so it's not out of my wheelhouse to to make calls and stay engaged, and but I'm glad if it does others good, then that's fantastic.
I guarantee you it does. Look, I thank you so kindly for the call, Kathleen. Anything else you want to add before we go on?
No, thank you for today's show. I appreciate it.
Thank you so kindly, Kathleen. You have a wonderful day, okay?
You too. Thanks.
Bye-bye. All right, folks, that was Kathleen Morgan. Let me just tell you something, folks. What I just said, one of the reasons I do this, Politics Done Right, is to get people engaged, to hope that we can all together engage and make a difference. Okay, continuing with the reading. Let's see. I think Lee Grant says he's blinded by his hate. I guess I'm blinded by hate. No, I'm not blinded by hate, Lee Grant. I don't hate you. I don't hate Daniel Ledo, and Mike Cisak, my favorite conservatives in my chat room. The truth of the matter is I love you all, okay? And you actually give perspective. And by you being here, all of you conservatives that are here, you help me. And I mean that from the depths of my heart. You help me be a better communicator by you being here. So thank you so kindly for being here. Daniel says, so you not only want a military coup, you want to murder millions of your fellow Americans? I don't understand what you mean by that. Oh, I don't know what you mean by that. But anyhow, I'm moving on. Replying to Dwight, let me go to something sensible here. Egberto, how is Trump handling this right now? He's handling it terribly. There are all the governors and the mayors and all of these guys that are filling in the blanks for what the president's administration is incapable of doing. They are playing catch up continuously. Lawrence Sim says, Mafia definitely need to fact check him because before releasing his speech. Lawrence, I think that was meant to be funny, and it in fact was funny. What happened to his mega cap? I don't know what happened. Find out from him. Lee Grant could tell us maybe. Lee Grant says, we all have to change our judgment of this event as we have learned more. So Trump can't do this? You're blinded by hate? No, Trump cannot do this. Trump does not have the intellect. Trump does not have the foresight. Trump does not have the vision to do this. And that some of you believe that he does means that guys like me in the independent media have a lot more work to do. Dennis McLaughlin says Trump is 3 cents short of a dollar. Man, you're generous, Dennis. Lawrence Sim says Dirty Donald was deflecting from his inability to govern and dangerous activities and created a scene for conversation other than he is and he isn't doing. Correct. Dennis McLaughlin said, no, Lee, Trump hid this from the American people for 3 months. You're right. He did hide it for 3 months. A lot of people don't realize it. There's a reason why, though. You wanted some of the public sector to come and, pay him off. Okay, you can do this, you can do that. And notice how they're talking about the private sector. Okay, Daniel Ledo says, let's see. I suspect Egberto will gloss over the comments of Dwight Guys and his desire to be Lil Stalin. Of course, Dwight feels safe to call for the subjugation of murder. Dwight is not calling for that at all. That is how misinformation gets put out there. Dennis McLaughlin says Republican senators were cashing out on insider trading. These bastards knew this was coming. Yeah, Dennis, they knew it, but also the Democratic senator from California, she also cashed in. Remember something that I preach all the time, and this is very important. Neoliberal is not party-based. Neoliberalism is not party-based. It is plutocracy-based, and the plutocracy owns both parties. We have sects within each party who wants to do good based on ideological values. That's why you have the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, and you used to have the progressive wing of the Republican Party. It is still there, but man, I feel sorry for them because they have a hard time. Egberto cares so much of the fellow Americans, he's going to use his platform to play politics in a no, I'm not playing. Yes, I am playing politics. I'm sorry. You're right. I'm not playing politics. I'm doing politics, which has to be done when there's policy that these people are going to use a national emergency to change. So it is my responsibility. It is the responsibility of all of our listeners to be a part and engage, just like Kathleen spoke about on the phone. Just like Kathleen spoke about. Obama had well over 1 million test kits for his H1N1 virus. The blowhard Trump did squat. Let's all remember that. Jerry Miller, Trump virus. Okay, I'm not going to go there. Donna Morgan says, when the problem is political, it's reasonable action. Lack of leadership is endangering my nurses' home care. You're so right, Dana. His actions and inactions are hurting my nurses. I'm going to put it a little bit more graphic. His actions and inactions have killed many. Dennis McLaughlin says, yes. Dennis McLaughlin said, our ignorant, self-serving president. Kathleen says, Trump is a pathological liar and has the maturity of a child. That was very evident when he comes and he says, China. It started in China. China. I mean, you listen to the guy, and I swear, for those who have any modicum of respect for him, I wonder. Help me, guys, understand. I don't get it. Anyhow, Dennis McLaughlin says, look at the group ACT UP. They had to fire under Reagan administration. It was ACT UP who got federal funding for the AIDS virus. The American people, yes, I mean, that's a standard modus operandi. We waited till the virus, the HIV got out of hand. You're so right. Good memory. Okay, Marshall W. Garden says people are sitting at home because they don't want to catch your disease. Huh? They don't want to catch the disease. Yeah, that's why they're sitting at home. How about you give some appreciation to the citizens that are self-quarantining? Thank you so kindly, people that are self-quarantining. Marshall W. Garden, you're correct. Thank you for self-quarantining. You're right. Edith Fear says, love to you, all goodness be with you, happiness every be your. Thank you so kindly, Edith Fear. Daniel Edosa, LOL, what is really funny is that all you liberals and gun control advocates are standing hours in lines to buy guns with no shame. Wow. Marshall W. Garden says, all right, man, don't you bash American citizens while you praise big business. You can't even go in Walmart and get some fried chicken. We don't want to catch coronavirus. We don't want baked chicken. You need to start praising U.S. citizens that aren't in the streets, start messing with you. I think that's what we just did. Daniel Ledo says, Lee Grant says, they are always saying guns are so easy to get. They are, actually. Marshall Gordon says, you like things done right? Well, you better start giving the American citizens some praise. Isn't that what we do here? Isn't that what we try to do when we empower citizens, Mr. Gordon? I think so. Daniel Ledo, you think liberals don't own guns? Ha 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 ha. All right. Daniel Ledo says, our little coffee clutch would be over the minute you tell me healthcare is a right. I don't argue with, I won't go there. And by the way, Daniel Ledo, yes, healthcare is a right. Humanity dictates that healthcare is a right. That's what morality as well dictates. Sal Sampitella, welcome aboard. Anarchists? Yes, I love anarchists too. Sal Sampitella. Daniel Ledo says, notice how how a call came in, so he deflects. I never deflect. I answer everything that's asked. Those who are putting career and party over nation and citizens should be voted out anyway. You're absolutely right. Marshall Garden says, lady, your friend is going to be okay, but we don't have a future. Our jobs won't come back. We got to pay our bills right now. We can't wait for Trump to give us money to later. If you don't have the money, Gordon, you just don't have the money. And there are a lot of people who are listening today that just don't have the money, my friend. Lawrence Sim says, better read the small print and see how much $600 people make under 20 grand per year will actually get. Very little. It's sad. It's sad. You're so right for bringing that up, Lawrence. Marshall, I really don't appreciate your call. You trying to make American citizens feel bad for needing help during disasters. I don't appreciate your call. You say, you're right. I mean, look, this is I'm going over a little bit over 4 because I want to answer everybody that's here. Let me tell you something, people. Nobody should be ashamed of what's going on here. It is, people work hard. I go to, when I'm driving, when I leave my studio here to drive to the studio at KPFT, what I see is Americans on the streets working hard, getting up early in the mornings and going. They're working their butts off. Don't dare tell me Americans are not hard workers. But they are not paid commensurate with what the work they do and the money they earn for the billionaires. The billionaires take most of it. And they think they've earned it. They didn't earn that. Americans big downtowns, big buildings, entertainment centers that they build that they can never use because it is built for just a few. Don't tell me about our system, people. Please. I am for the people, not those that take advantage of the people. Okay, let's see. Daniel Ledo, a listener calls for murder and coup, and as predicted, Egberto glosses over it. I don't know which listener calls for murder and coup. I don't, anyhow. Sarasota, Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker told Trump during a video conference on Thursday that his state 3 times lost out to federal government on purchases, creating an awkward moment. I heard about that. The first he said, go out there, you guys, and get the machines yourself. That's what Trump told the governors. And then the governors started to do that and realized they were competing against a capitalist society, right? Oh, I bid for this, I bid for that. This is a national crisis, an emergency. And you're going to make a system work on, this government can bid higher than that government and this one. Oh my God. Do you see the evil within the system? Do you see it now? Thank you for bringing that up, Sally Salas. Marshall Gordon says, implement population control, implement Planned Parenthood. I get that. Sally Salas says, the president replied he still wants governors to seek out their own That's the president. Marshall Gordon, the government has to start housing people. In the long run, something like that is going to happen because they don't have a choice. Okay, let's see what else here. Hillary said he didn't have the temperament to be president, and folks said they didn't care. I don't think that folks said they didn't care. Remember, Hillary won with by more than 3 million votes. She did win by more than 3 million votes. Defective constitution, a very defective constitution, allows that a minority in this country can rule. One of the reasons Mitch McConnell has been so ferocious in trying to fill the federal benches, the judges and the federal benches, is because they understand that in the long run, progressives will be elected. And the thing in this country, another constitutional flaw, is that judges serve a lifetime. These federal judges serve a lifetime. So now whenever laws are passed, they have the ability, these judges, if we get all these Republican judges, I shouldn't even call them Republican, that's a misnomer. If we get all these evil neoliberal judges on the bench, they can disenfranchise everybody. They can get rid of democracy. And they get rid of democracy because they will simply rule any laws passed unconstitutional. And for those laws to become constitutional requires a supermajority in Congress and the president to change the Constitution with an amendment. So they are looking at minority rule because they understand that the majority of people in this country are starting to see the light. Before I go, I just want to, we're coming to the end of the program. We're actually going about 10 minutes over today. I want to encourage all of you who are listening to go ahead and go to store.politicsdoneright.com. Support our show by buying some of our gear if you don't mind. But most importantly, we'd love for you to become subscribers of our show. We do a lot of hard work for the cause. Please go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. That is patreon.com/politicsdoneright. You can support our equipment fund. Our equipment fund by going to GoFundMe.com/independent-media-upgrade. You can also contribute at paypal.me/politicsdoneright. Again, that is paypal.me/politicsdoneright. And again, please visit our store at store.politicsdoneright.com. My name is, if you're, by the way, you can give us a top chat if you happen to be on YouTube. But anyway, my name is Egberto Willies, and you know how I end this baby? I am what? Out! Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.